YouTube, welcome to the final Ark of Osiris of the weekend. We are about to embark on a more chill Ark of Osiris, less power, but still a lot of gameplay to show, especially because this alliance seemed to be very keen on consistently rallying throughout the whole event. They call themselves the kings of rallies in Ark of Osiris, so we're about to find that out. Let's put out a message very quickly to everyone so they can know. Hey everyone, I'm live with the final Ark of Osiris of the weekend. iRON, these guys claim to be the rally masters. Maybe it's rally masters, and then we do this, and then we take the link and we post it and send it to everyone in this Discord group. Bam, we're out and we're good to go. Madara, how you doing? Arkle, welcome to the stream. Who is the opponent? We have yet to know. I can tell you who these guys are. We don't know who the opponent is just yet. This is Immortal Rebellion. It is led by Lady Nesisa. This is a kingdom from kingdom 163. We're looking at a good matchup. I don't think there'll be any tier 5s on either side. About 260 and 250, 260 power between the two of them. It's a pretty nice even fight right here. I do not believe they'll have any tier 5s on their side. It's going to be a purely tier 4 Ark of Osiris from what I'm seeing. So that's going to be nice to be able to spectate and kind of see how a tier 5 alliance does Ark of Osiris. Tier 4 alliance does Ark of Osiris. And perhaps they'll even get matched with someone with a tier 5, making things so much more challenging. What's up, Ivor? How you doing, man? I meant to talk to you, but in between the last cast and food and gym and this, didn't have time for anything. Mr. Moon, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Welcome to the stream, Mr. Moon. I haven't seen your name before, I think. It sounds familiar though. So as people are slowly making their way to the stream, it's the second of the day, the third this weekend. Hi Gecko, I'm waiting for your stream. Hope you're doing well. Mr. Bunny, how you doing? What's good? All good. I had a great workout session. I ate nicely. I gotta eat again right after this and probably pass out because it's been a very long day. Video coming out tomorrow about stage 3 and where high are in terms of the Lost Kingdom. I saw that a couple of that Dragothian already posted about that stage 3 event, which is very cool. But I had boatloads. Of statues to exchange. So it's gonna be a nice one for you guys to see. Clan RBR, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the stream. I don't know if you're on the stream or watching a video, but welcome to the channel as people slowly and steadily will trickle in here for another Ark of Osiris cast. It's the third of the day. It is. It really is the third of the day. That's crazy. It is the third of the day. The third of the day and the third of the weekend. I completely forgot I woke up at 6 a.m. today to do this. So it's the third of the day. 3 out of 3 so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing. We've seen a very nice Ark of Osiris previously where UCS did beat 137i, but they did a really good job at pushing them back. This cast is a lower good one. I usually try to do between higher powers and lower powers, kind of just to get a mix so people can see how Ark of Osiris is played at all levels. Bro, I'm a free-to-play player. I got a 7th position in the Ark. They are all pay to win. Just rally and defense. There you go. Exactly. All you got to do is keep rallying and defending. If you keep rallying, you keep holding your buildings, you'll do good in the event regardless. Tristan, how you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. We need a UCS versus JWM. Mr. Bunny, trust me when I tell you, I could have sworn that was going to happen this weekend. It didn't work out. There has to be a way to get this to happen again. We're trying to get it done. It's in the work. It's in the process. It just hasn't happened yet. But when it does, I'm going to really want to watch it from UCS's side, because we've seen JWM a couple of times. We know how they do, and we've fought them as well in an Ark of Osiris. But we've never really seen UCS's side ever since the big UCS versus JWM a while back. So it's really interesting. Those guys are very private to a certain extent, and I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity to get in there for the one Ark. I need to drink a little water before starting a big boy cast again. JWM is very nice. I like them a lot. They're also very strong. They have a very good strategy. But I know their strategy a little bit now, as I've casted a couple of their arcs, and UCS is an unknown. We usually don't see them as much, which is really why I would like to cast from their side next time around, showcase their alliance as well. And JWM we're going to showcase on a video on Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday? On Tuesday, I think we're going to showcase them. So it's going to be nice. So on Ark of Osiris, between two very close players, we are looking at iRON in blue versus the enemies are DAR1. Why does DAR1 sound so familiar? Have we casted DAR1 before? DAR1, there we go. So let's see what DAR1 has to offer right here. 16 million player, 15 million player. Okay. 10s, 15s. Are they lined up so that the bigger guys are in the back? There it is. The tier 5 player right here. Dezo, who's going to make things a bit. 2 tier 5 players. Odan as well. These guys are going to make our friends' life a little bit of a hell. It's not impossible to beat tier 5 players against non-tier 5 players, but it makes things so much harder when there are 3 tier 5 players, including someone like Farok with 90 million power. That means a lot of troops in there. So the way Ark of Osiris works, for any of you who have not watched an Ark of Osiris cast in the past, it works in a way that I need to hide my screen for a second because I forgot my drawing tool. Sorry about that. So let me hide the screen for less than 10 seconds. And let's talk about the new matchmaking system. Let's talk about everything you need to know. So Ark of Osiris is divided into 3 phases. The preparation phase is 3 minutes long. And once that passes, the first stage are the obelisks and outposts of Seth. These are buildings that can be captured instantly right off the gate. What the teams do is they start marching their way into the initial buildings, more importantly towards the obelisks. Now the obelisks, once you have secured them with a 3-minute cooldown, you get 5 teleports, and then from there on more teleports as time goes by to get your cities out of the initial camp right here and forward towards the battlefield. So the first set of things that happen is once this timer runs out, all these buildings will get first occupied, and within 5 minutes of that happening, the second layer will open up, which are the altars and shrines. Both of these buildings exist on both sides, and it's pretty much a mirrored map. The most important buildings on the map, of course, are none other than the altars, the desert and sky altar, 4 of them all together, ticking for 150 points per minute total, and they are more than half of the points on the map. And now, as the gates open up, one of the blue guys just shows up. We're looking at a 29 versus 29 so far, 31 versus 29, meaning one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, well, this guy's missing right here, and this is a backup player coming in. So we're looking at a 30 versus 30, technically 31 because the guy just didn't show up and he was registered. But it's a 30 on 29 right now, hoping that maybe the red team had backup players as well. You guys can see the main strategy in the beginning is sending either 1 troopers or full cav marches towards the main buildings. That way you reach the buildings before the timer, before anything else really, and you want to keep holding these buildings, and from there is a cooldown to make your way forward towards the rest of the buildings. So when you have this time to move yourself around, what usually people do, one of the things that we've seen is what we're seeing right now. blue team not even waiting a moment. They have set up two rallies right here. Let's go look at which of these they're going for. They're going for the outpost of Seth, for their own obelisk, for another outpost of Seth, and then for one of their obelisks. The blue team pulling through, as they told us. They are the kings of rallies, according to them, and they rally non-stop throughout the event. A very aggressive posture forward, taking the outposts and an obelisk. Outposts are very underrated, especially when you can rally and get troops all the way to here, 1,500 troops all the way to the other side of the map. That can be crucial later on. First occupations happening right now by both teams. Red team with a very slight advantage on the outpost of Seth, but then slowly and steadily closing the gap as the obelisks start ticking for the blue team. Second outpost of Seth taken by the red team. At this point, the red team will have a little bit more points early on, but the blue team will have an obelisk ready to port into faster. No obelisks taken still by the red team, as the blue team already ticked away almost half a minute from their first obelisk and still waiting for the next one. So far, what we're going to be seeing are rallies moving across the map and forward posturing by both teams to try to get as further out as possible on the map and get ready to pick up these buildings as they unlock. Is it safe to say that for Ark of Osiris, technically, it'd be better to delete all your siege units for matchmaking purposes? I don't think so. I think it goes based on the top tiers. Unless you have tier 4 sieges, which is really weird, then I don't think so. I have some tier 4 sieges, but I think that primarily we should be having tier 1 sieges, right? As we're using them for gathering. Unless you're doing like siege rallies, in that case, it'll definitely make your power stronger. Yes, those sieges will come and count in your Ark of Osiris matchmaking power. Hopefully, as this match progresses, we'll start talking about that as well. But that is a good point. I make all tier 1 sieges. I have some tier 4 sieges. I never thought about the fact that they make my power stronger. That's an interesting one. What's up, Gabby? So let's look at the rallies right here. We are watching 1, 2, 3, 4 marches on the battlefield, and we can probably see them moving across the map. Siege rallies are nice. Oh, definitely. Siege rallies are funny. They're some of the best ones out there, especially if you're doing like barbarian forts, which is kind of funny. So at this point, again, both teams picked up all of stage 1 successfully, and now they're waiting for the cooldown on each building to close out. So they start ticking for points, and so that the obelisks are available for porting. So we are seeing the guys from iRON being super aggressive. It looks like their opponents are less keen on rallying. Let's go look if we see a few red marches posturing forward. So we're seeing some red marches aiming towards the center from what I'm seeing. And I see a couple of marches out here starting to push forward towards the desert altar at the bottom, forward into a caravan that's closer to the Shrine of War on the other side. So the red team is posturing forward, including posturing towards the sky altar on the blue side. So this one's going to be an interesting one. The first obelisk opening up. Teleports should be coming in right now, which will help reinforcing the sky altar as well. Of course, people who are in rallies or not in buildings cannot teleport. So this is a very important, crucial thing, because these rallies had to make it to their destination or else you're screwed. Honestly though, what if you stop making sieges, delete them all, farm with just calves or imps or whatever in order to be super dominant in an Ark of Osiris? Had to give it some thought? You could. That won't necessarily not work. I don't know how efficient it will be, 1 or 2 players, but if your whole alliance does that, that could be pretty interesting. So we have first occupations already going across the board on stage 2. We're seeing a rally on the top red obelisk. Blue team, as I mentioned previously, sending a rally up to the top. Farok, the big tier 5 player in here with his infantries, not about to let these cavalries have the best of it, as also Rollo here sending a full infantry march to really damper the attack by Dragon Shogun. I said his name wrong, but whatever. We're seeing though that, funnily enough, the blue team is posturing forward towards the red side, picking up the Shrine of War that's supposed to be on the red side, but the red side in return hitting back the bottom altar away from the blue team, and the blue team had ported a good amount of castles in here, so they shouldn't have a problem getting troops to the sky altar at the bottom. If the red team can hold all 3 altars for first occupation points, that'll give them a substantial lead, as they do hold their obelisk quite easily thanks to the help of a very strong big tier 5 player, and of course infantries against cavalries. So now the siege is on the sky altar. The sky altar is getting more and more reinforcements by DAR. DAR know exactly what they need to be doing. I guess Wyas is already in there and can't really join more, so he's going after the solo march. At this point, what these guys are fighting for is the first occupation points. You guys are seeing on the screen right now, you get as an alliance and as an individual some awesome first occupations, which can be crucial to take a lead early on. As of right now, everything is tied up with a little bit of a lead for the blue team as they conquered the buildings a little bit earlier. But right now, in about 30 seconds or so, one of the first desert altar will be locked in for the red team. Blue team managed to take a sky altar away from the red team. The red team still have 2 minutes to react to this. And can the sky altar at the bottom be taken away from the red team? This looks like a close one. This looks like a very close one. I hope Wyas can get in and out of this building. Just do anything he can to slow down the burnage of this building, or else this might be very bad news. iRON are still pushing forward with rallies, and now a rally on the Shrine of Life is on its way here as well. Let's go make sure that the red team managed to hold on to this altar, as fights are happening everywhere. We are seeing a couple of rallies, one this way and one that way, as iRON, who have mentioned they are the kings of rallies, are doing everything they can. Now, unfortunately, it looks like iRON's leader, Lady Nasisa, is about to take this sky altar with a full march in here. There's very small amounts of troops in here, and DAR know this. There's absolutely nothing they can do. Dezo really needs to make it into this desert altar before it gets taken away by the blue team, and now the 3-minute mark is up for them. First occupation was not secured by the red team, and the blue team is looking to actually secure their first occupations on things, as they do lock in one desert altar. We are going 1 for 1 on the desert altars, and sky altars being traded between both teams. Shrines of Wars are also starting to lock in, and the Shrine of Life is being contested, but the red team will secure first occupation, which is very, very important, as the first occupation points give a huge lead early on. There are plenty of red marches, including some tier 5s on the battlefield right here, so I feel like we can safely say this rally is getting melted away. But the question is whether the red team will manage to hold on to this desert altar for first occupation, and secondly, whether they'll be able to take back this sky altar before the blue team lock in their first occupation. The rally, as we predicted, wasn't successful on the Shrine of Life. Another rally on its way and hitting the obelisk of the bottom obelisk of DAR. We do have here Odan, another tier 5 player, and we have Dezo in here. You have marches available to help this obelisk. There are also marches joining the obelisk on top of the tier 5s. So we can really see here the pushes happening by the blue team, but so far the red team holding strong, getting their first occupations, stopping the blue team from a couple first occupations, and taking a 500-point lead as a return for occupying successfully the Shrine of Life first. This obelisk is looking like it's going to take massive damage, and it's really going to need the red team to step it up, or else they might find themselves having to fight back for an obelisk, giving the blue team a little bit of a leeway to start causing more trouble around the map. It seems like the blue team, iRON, the guys we came here to see, will successfully take over a red obelisk. Now this makes things very interesting, as the sky altar has a minute on it here and 50 seconds on the other sky altar. Shrine of War that is already locked in for the blue team, taking a rally by Dezo, a tier 5 player. We are looking at Caesar versus Caesar. Rally doing a lot of damage, but also is the fort itself, the Shrine of War itself. The Shrine is taking some substantial hits because, again, there are tier 5, it seems like tier 5 player in here that is leading. I see some tier 5s in there. But at this point, the solo marches are not being too helpful, and it seems like they're going really tit for tat, trying to really get this done. The points lead by the red team was diminished a little bit by the blue team, as they right now hold a 20 points per minute lead still, as now the blue team lock in the sky altar, which the red team should be locking in as well. But as long as they don't lock it in, points are flowing more towards the blue team than the red team. Now, while all this happened, the red team ended up losing their desert altar. So now the points per minute game is really starting to shift in the favor of the blue team, even though the red team is still ahead by a little bit. If they manage to secure and close this new altar, a third altar to tick for points for them, we're going to look at a very big gap in the points per minute game. Now, while this rally is going on this Shrine of War, the other Shrine of War is being contested with a solo and a rally march, and an Ark of Osiris has spawned. Red team seem to be completely dominant on the Ark of Osiris battlefield, and it looks like they will be carrying their own Ark of Osiris for the first time tonight back home and get that 3,000 point advantage. It is interesting, surprisingly, the 3 whales do not make the difference yet. Yes, it is interesting to point out that having players like Odar, okay, like you have Odan here, 56 million power. You have Dezo, 53 million power. So these are not necessarily the top tier of a tier 5 player. These are players who have gotten their tier 5s and might even have maybe one available tier 5 march, maybe even that they don't have. They might even have only one set of tier 5s available. So to have 3 big whales is interesting, but 2 of them are baby whales still, you know what I mean? They still require a substantial amount of troops, which, by the way, one of their whales does have a full set of as many tier 5s as he needs. I think that's 2 tier 5 marches. I have no clue. It depends on a couple of things. They can have a massive amount of tier 4s, which is why they're overpowered, and they really don't have that. You can't really know. It gives them an advantage being rally leaders. That's exactly how they should be acting. They should be hitting rallies and being rally leaders, and I'm seeing them being rally leaders, except that that's maybe not going to be enough for them. Farok sending a rally all the way across the map to the opposition, to the blue top obelisk. He's not going to be doing that enough damage to this thing to actually slow it down, as there are plenty of solo marches just doing a little bit more damage to the rally. It looks like the rally, the obelisk itself is very well secured, and the rally is slowly melting more and more. The Ark of Osiris is being carried pretty easily by the red team. The blue team is trying to sneak away the outpost of Seth from the red team, something that has been done in the past a couple times, and is how you can stop an Ark from marching. On the same beat and the same exact thought, the desert altar that was finally reconquered by the red team could have been taken away, and now the Ark is deciding to march its way that way. Well, it turned around and went back to the outpost that belongs to the blue team. It's kind of weird. You guys have your desert altar available. Why not march there? The blue team really is starting to show some overwhelming power. They are all over the map. They picked up both Shrines of Wars. The Shrine of Life is being contested by Farok with a solo march, and it seems like another solo march is coming in. This match is going to be a lot tighter than it seems. Both teams, however, with one teleport available, and the blue team with a dominant advantage in the points per minute game, starting to build a nice little lead. This domination will change once this desert altar locks in for the red team. It'll close down that gap substantially. And then if they start doing what they need to do, they can stop the bleeding towards the blue team. This Ark of Osiris that they're carrying will really, really help them out to gain a nice little 2,000 point difference gap between the blue team so that they can start reacting and cleaning out points from the blue team. Boudica. The reason you see Boudicas on the battlefield, believe it or not, is they use them as I think they use them as suppressors. Not some people use Boudicas as like for rage cooldown to silence, I think it's called. We're gonna look at that in a second. We got 2 rallies coming from the blue team. 1 rally battling already, still battling for this obelisk. Farok's rally is showing it can hold its weight. It's distracting plenty of solo marches and holding the iRON are holding their obelisk, and they will take it out. All the shrines belong now to the blue team. They have taken out a bunch of people here out of this Shrine of Life. This is when the blue team is starting to heal. They have, as soon as they get these buffs, they get all this taken care of, they can start healing. They got both healing buffs, which means cheaper healing. This is the time to do it. iRON is doing very, very well. iRON is slowly and steadily taking over the map with just rally after rally after rally after rally, and they keep distracting these players like Dezo away from main targets, main progress, as they keep hitting buildings. And now Dezo's trying to make it in, and last second he couldn't get it done. Instead of solo hitting, he should have aimed straight for this, and he couldn't. And now he has a full rally to take care of inside the obelisk, and the blue team is just not letting the red team breathe at all. iRON are doing a fantastic job at sending marches forward and continually sending rallies. It's a shame that watching just in general Boudica for rage reduction, it really depends on what you're doing with her, but you can use her for that as well. One of the things that really kind of are upsetting is the fact that, you know, in an Ark of Osiris that was much less intense than this one because it was a little bit bigger, most people want to see that. But believe it or not, these levels where you are in the middle tier of Ark of Osiris, that it's closer, that's when the good arcs happen. That's when you can learn some strategy and grow your own strategy. We're seeing Odan trying to kind of push his way through the Shrine of Life, and he's doing a very good job at it. He's doing a substantially good job at it, and just like that, he picks up that Shrine of Life by himself. This is how he stops the bleeding, but he instantly leaves the building. So any blue march coming in can literally take this right back in their favor. So what we're seeing right now is the red team did recover the Ark of Osiris, and with that, they have a little bit of a gap worth to play with still, but that gap is going to be gone within 3 minutes. Unless they manage to make the bleeding stop, unless they manage to do what they're doing right now, which is take away the points per minute from the blue team. Even if they don't secure the building, if they keep the buildings at a point where they are consistently under cooldown and the blue team is not benefiting out of it, they can actually win the match by just not letting the blue team get as many occupation points as they are trying to get. And as much as these guys are trying, now Farok is coming into full swing of things. Now the tier 5s are really showing that they are here. They're going to be a huge factor. We're 37 minutes away from the end. 23 minutes have gone. About 20 minutes worth of fighting and things happening on the screen so far. And we are seeing that while the blue team dominates the map and does live up to their name of kings of rallies, consistently rally non-stop buildings, they have to start figuring out how they are cleaning out that Ark of Osiris. Because if the red team pick up another Ark of Osiris and keep it like this, then they're gonna just keep consistently coming back from deficits by picking up the Ark and then slowing the progress of the blue team down exponentially. That's what the tier 5s are really useful for just brute forcing buildings out of the positioning of the blue team. Now, the red team is getting caught up with solo fights instead of getting in the building. There's a big boy rally just destroying. There is a very, very bad play right here by 2 players who I see they have marches in here, but they could have very easily replaced the full marches in here and continually holding the sky altar. holding a building is so much more important than fighting the guys on the battlefield. And this is something I see people make the same mistake again and again and again. Tier 5s are good for arcs. Yes, they are. This is what tier 5s are good for. You see this right here. This is 2 tier 5 marches, solo, taking away the Shrine of War, which was full of a rally. Not exactly 100% a full rally, but still probably like over 1 million troops in here going up against Farok's 500k, 600k-ish. And just building cannot hold. The building just cannot hold. The red team are only one altar away from tying things up. The points per minute game still works in favor of the blue team, as there are still plenty of buildings that are not ticking for points just yet. So once these 2 buildings start ticking for points for the blue team and for the red team, and of course the red team take away this, we are going to be pretty much evened up. And that's when the Ark of Osiris itself comes into a very, very important play. We can definitely see the red team putting much more effort into the Ark itself. And the strategy of owning more buildings is very, very important, as the blue team just goes 1 and 2 and takes away a couple of altars. Bam and bam, just like that. And they keep pushing the points per minute game. But still, there are easily 2 more arcs, maybe even 3 in play. 2 more arcs for sure. So that's 7,500 points. That means that if the red team managed to just slow down the growth pace of the blue team, there is 7,500 points, which can be very clear victory points for the red team. The red team is looking right now at 20,000 points period if they stop earning points. And then of course the 10 minutes and all that, they'll probably end up earning they'll end up with a good 25, maybe 26,000 points at this pace. And now the question is whether they can slow down the amounts of points the blue team gets. That way they don't get to that number. As of this moment, which is the lowest point the red team has gotten in terms of points per minute, and the difference between the two, there is the number that needs to be set is 26,000 points by the blue team, and 27,000 points by the blue team is a guaranteed win if things stay as they are. So the Ark of Osiris, there's a successful occupation by the red team of the obelisk, and of course it's ticking for points for them yet again. The bottom obelisk, they have 3 ports available for them now, which need to be used. Sky altar secured by the blue team, making things much harder for the red team, as 150 points per minute are a huge number. The desert altar being triple soloed by tier 5 marches, and a rally is marching towards the Shrine of War. So the tides are still being fought for. The turn is still happening. The red team is rallying the sky altar and will most likely take that sky altar away from the blue team and stop that bleeding in a moment. And if they can just keep holding on to this building, then the blue team is really going to have a tough time figuring things out. Marches are making their way down towards the sky altar, but the blue team is not going to let these marches come in fully healed. There were 240-ish thousand troops when this march was, when we clicked on this march. And by the time it's going to make it in, I doubt it'll stay above 140. It's like, geez, is there anything going to stay in here? It's going to be less than 100 troops. 50,000 troops marching and 50,000 troops dead. Sky altar taken away. And this is when the red team need to really hold this building for dear life, because they're really going to need those points. And the red team also being super aggro, going straight at this desert altar. 1 tier 5 player moving forward towards the Shrine of War, wanting to ensure that's taken. Although I feel that's a mistake, as it's more important to take your desert altar back into your favor than a Shrine of War. Shrine of Life being rallied by the red team. Roma FR actually leaving the Shrine of Life so he can fight on the battlefield. I don't see him bringing in extra marches anyway, so I don't understand this move. You're making just as many solo points by defending the building. You're actually making more solo points by defending a building than doing this. So I kind of don't understand it. Dezo sending tier 5s to defend this building. Seems like the building will stay secured. The blue team took away, they held the desert altar. What a shame. What a shame by the red team not to follow through that altar. The altar is so much more important than the Shrine of War for them right now, that this is really, really starting to get interesting. I am not necessarily rooting for anyone, but the red team has been definitely coming up from behind the whole time, and they have the tier 5 players. So in my expectation, it was supposed to be the blue team, iRON, going up against someone who is so much better than them, but they just seem to not be able to stop the blue team. Even though they have the tier 5s, even though they have the small power advantage, the amounts of infinite rallies that the blue team consistently send out, I guess, really is hampering with the red team's mojo. Ark of Osiris is on the battlefield, and the red team are going to clearly pick it up. That means 3,500 points towards the red team, putting them back in the lead, unless... wait a second before I say that, but they should be back in the lead, and if not, they're going to close this gap by quite a lot. This is where the red team really need to focus up on starting to make their own points and on really taking away this desert altar. Dezo sending an interesting march, an archer's march. I'm assuming because there are infantries in here, he's looking to abuse abuse this situation, of course, as in theory archers go up against infantries go up against cavalries go up against archers. But it doesn't look like this was a very good idea. These guys are still solo hitting a building that has plenty of power. Roma 4 going back towards the Shrine of War. The Shrine of War is getting protection after protection after protection, and Dezo is really having a hard time stopping those marches. He decides to screw it. I'm going to solo this instead. The Shrine of War is maybe what they really want, to have even more strength so they'll be able to solo take this desert altar next. But really, the red team is running out of time. The red team is really, really running out of time to start making moves and get their points back. At this point, the blue team with 2,500 points of a lead and 300 points per minute ahead in the points per minute game. But it might change soon, as 80 points per minute are going to go down right here in a moment. And also there is an altar being contested at the bottom as well. And they pick up an obelisk from the red team. The red team can't get caught off guard, get caught asleep, focusing on this Shrine of War so much that their own obelisk was taken away by a simple rally, which now is inside an obelisk and will require a substantial amount of sacrifice to get rid of. The rallies by the blue team are just unbelievably strong. They keep taking buildings left and right, and the red team are just continuously just only reacting to what the blue team does. Ark of Osiris was on its way to the altar. Now it seems to be going back towards an outpost right here, which was secured by a red march earlier on. And the blue team really working on the Shrine of War. Red team doing their best to try to hold on to the shrine for dear life. I think that if they manage to hold on to it and get to a point where they have that advantage on top of the tier 5s, they can really start swinging, changing here the situation. The tides might turn, the winds might pick up for the red team. But as of right now, the blue team doing everything they need to do correctly. 3,500 points ahead of the red team. Even with this Ark of Osiris being delivered, the blue team are still going to find themselves in an advantage. But the problem is the red team have done what they need to do. They have closed the gap to a point where the next Ark of Osiris might be worth more than the rest of the points that these guys might be able to get more than the red team. So this is all about diminishing now the amounts of points the blue team makes. If the red team focus a desert altar, the sky altar, and start focusing on the buildings that make points and really just bring them back into cooldown mode so the blue team doesn't benefit from points, then another Ark of Osiris can be everything the red team needs to win this match. Red team is focusing on the Ark too much. I don't think they're focusing on it too much. I think the blue team isn't focusing on it at all, but I don't think the red team are sending enough rallies out. They have 3 tier 5 players who should be rallying consistently, and we're only seeing 2 of them now and finally rallying, and this is not a thing. Like, we have a march Begsy marching forward, even though the altar right next to you is under attack, is under a threat. This is more important than anything else. He's going to gather. He's going to gather. Like, he's going to move his march forward, but you are needed in here right now. So the most important thing the red team can do right now is to stop the gap from the blue team opening more and more and more. That's the name of the game right now. So ideally, and let me just adjust this camera a little bit, that way I can sit back. There we go. So ideally, right now, the red team need to get as many altars out of the blue teams as possible, and that's what they are doing. They are solo hitting, which is kind of a shame considering they can get rallies going pretty quickly from their own obelisk, and they have tier 5s there to do it. But it seems like the solo hits are really working out. They are slowly chipping away at the points per minute the blue team is making, and now the blue team is only making 10 points more. If this altar goes down, the red team might actually take an advantage on the points per minute game. And on top of that, if they manage to secure this, which I don't know why this guy decided it's better to leave with 70,000 troops than keep him here and allow this guy to make it in time. I don't really understand that decision right there, but it is what it is. DAR are leaving the building, so they know that what they're doing is very simple. All they are trying to do is make sure that the blue team doesn't tick for points for these buildings. And yes, the blue team is about to take the building back right there. Oh, no, the blue team was not. It was aimed. This was a reinforcement. So once this is not being reinforced anymore, it just turned back instead of fighting for this. Very cool stuff. Look at this. 3 altars now in favor of the red team. The obelisk by the blue team being contested. Is this a rally or is this a solo? This is a rally that was kind of obliterated. 3 solos maybe or something like that. Just look at how many irons are being occupied in here. The map is changing color, ladies and gentlemen. The map is changing color. It went from full blue to full red, as it seems like the red team has finally started to figure things out. On top of that, they have 2 altars not taking for points for them. If they manage to lock that in, they're going to increase their difference right here, not by having only 160 points per minute more, but actually having 460 points per minute more, closing the gap much more than they want. They want to close that gap as much as possible. So when they pick up the arcs, that's what's going to give them the lead consistently. So the name of the game for blue team right now is how do they keep increasing their gap? How do they keep holding on to these buildings? The rallies are coming out by the bucket loads. We're looking at 4 rallies consistently, but they're not picking up the buildings. And while these rallies are organizing, the red team started also counter rallying and also swarm soloing with their tier 5s. Ali, I usually don't read the chat when I cast. That's why I ignore questions, because I usually focus more on the match. Then this is not like a regular stream where I pay attention to chat more than I pay attention to the game. This is a cast where ideally I answer questions either if the battle is not as tight as this one or after the battle is over. So we're seeing a very tight fight right now. There are rallies coming out by the blue team, but they are also not strong enough to hold on to their buildings after they take this away. How are only 5 people watching? I have no idea. I see 48 beautiful people watching the stream right now, which is awesome considering these guys are not very known alliances that people would go crazy and want to really watch. So that's pretty cool. So I'm seeing a red rally that's going to be very successful at taking this desert altar unless the blue team really start picking up the pace on their defensive side. There's a rally being chunked away, 660 and dropping towards the, what is this Shrine of War. 660,000 troops. If there is even one tier 5 player in here, there's nothing these guys can do. And I think those troops would have been a lot more beneficial holding the one desert altar that's ticking for points for you. As of right now, the red team have successfully locked in three altars ticking for points for them. They will take the lead within the next minute or so. And now the blue team is on their back foot. They really now need to do the same exact thing that I told the red team to do previously. It is time to slow down the growth of the red team by just taking buildings and even getting rid of them, but still taking them away from the red team. And you're seeing 3 red buildings, 4 red buildings right now. 3 red buildings are blinking as the blue marches are doing their best to fight them. There is this looks like a rally, or yeah, this looks like a rally on the sky altar right here. More reinforcements coming in, so hopefully the blue team will be able to take this sky altar back and slow down the growth of the red team, who just took the lead in the points in general, and they're still leading 610 points ahead per minute. There's also the Shrine of Life that's getting hit by it looks like a solo march, which is not really going to be able to hold on against another solo march and a Shrine of Life defense line. On top of that, the Shrine of War is being demolished. I mean, the rally that was here, 600,000 troops we saw, which just got demolished at the Shrine of War. And that's how many marches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marches that are a minute away from being able to be useful again. Another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marches that are unable to be utilized for the next minute or so, but they do take the sky altar back. They do take their sky altar and slow down a little bit the red team from in the points per minute game, as right now the red team has 600 points ahead of the blue team. And it's just crazy how the tides turned just like that. You can see a full red map right here. If you ask me, all these rallies are not being filled or are not big enough to be substantial. I think that quality over quantity is very important. You should be able to make big 1 million plus rallies, 2, 3, 4 of them, than having 6 or 7 with 700,000 troops that cannot go up against a full building, or even worse, against one tier 5 march. If there is one tier 5 march and one tier 4 march, so let's say there is like 400,000 troops in the building. If you have 700,000 coming at you that are tier 4s against the 300,000 tier 5s, the rally is not going to be successful, especially if the better commanders are on the defensive side, which they are, since you're looking at a tier 5 player who spent money and therefore should be having better commanders overall. So at this point, the blue team is just trying to do the best they can. 611,000, you can see exactly what I'm talking about right here. These are troops that are not very efficient because there are tier 5 players in here. So this rally is pointless. It's getting destroyed just because of the 1 or maybe even 2 tier 5 marches in here. There are just not enough troops in the rallies to be able to take these buildings. There's just not enough troops, straight up. The red team with 1,100 points lead. Now comes their moment of glory, as the blue team have realized it's time for us to start working on the Ark of Osiris a little bit. They might have caught the red team off guard here with just a few marches. So maybe the blue team is about to pull a fast one on the red team and pick up an Ark of Osiris for themselves. If that happens, the tides turn yet again, as now the gap that the blue team will be nice enough so that they'll have time to react to take the points per minute by the red team down. So what we're seeing here is the most important thing is how many points you're making per minute. But the way a game is won is by increasing the gap between two teams and their points. When you pick up a certain gap, that gap is only as good if you have a certain lead. That lead is only as good as the points per minute game allows you to. Even if the red team the blue team take a, let's say, 3,000 point lead, in less than 10 minutes, that lead is going to go away naturally. So that gives them 10 minutes to start slowing down the growth of points of the other team. That way they can stretch it forward. If, for example, as they take this Ark of Osiris away and they pick up 4,000 points, which means about a 2,000 point lead from the red team, and they manage to take this out of the red team, and they managed to take this out of the red team. So now the red team is only going to have about 120 points of a lead, which will mean they're going to need more than 10 minutes to get the job done. And at some point, it'll just get to a point where there won't be enough time. So it's a combination of gaining a lead, opening a gap in between the two alliances, and then working on making sure the other alliance is not closing the gap as fast as it takes for them to win. With 16 minutes, we have plenty of time. There's still about 17,000 points worth of territories to be gained, as there are 1,180 points total on the map as of right now. it looks like the blue team have managed to slow things down for the red team, as they have picked up two altars, one of them just now being picked up. Hopefully, if it starts ticking for points for the red team, for the blue team, it'll diminish the gap even more to only 80 points per minute. It looks like Dezo is not letting the sky altar live and taking it right back. So really, taking this Ark is a fantastic play by the blue team, but it's not enough. They're gonna need to take this Ark, who was marching for a caravan for some reason instead of marching towards the outpost right here. I don't know why he's changing directions so much, but maybe he's trying to drag time to not let another Ark pop after this. Maybe that's the plan. But regardless, if they don't slow down the growth on the points per minute game for the red team, it really won't matter, because the red team is still gonna end up winning by just accumulating more points with time. This one's gonna be a really, really close one. This one's gonna be a really, really close one. I'm trying to figure out what the heck this Ark carrier is doing. He's literally going towards a place that's not even secured, not to mention, I don't really know. I don't really know what they're doing. I think they're really trying to drag out the time this Ark of Osiris is out. That way there's no time to return another one. And then they are hoping that they'll be able to slow down the red team enough. Maybe that's the play. If that's the case, that's a very interesting way of looking at it. Essentially, they are locking out the possibility of another Ark of Osiris being returned. And therefore, now they just have to make sure they can hold on to their 2,000 point lead, which they'll have once they return this Ark. But every minute they are waiting and they're taking their time and they're not using all these marches to take buildings, are minutes that the red team is gaining 300 points more than them. So 10 minutes, 14 minutes left right here will give them about another 4,400 points, 4,500 points. So even returning the Ark right here will not do much, considering the red team at this point is in the driver's seat to win this game. So now what does the blue team have to do? The blue team have to take their lead and make sure they slow down the progress of the red team by taking out any building that's ticking for points for them. Quite honestly, even taking this building is pointless, because there is a time until it starts gaining points. These two are the most important ones at this point in time that they really need to be working hard on, and having this building being secured for them will give them another 150 points, which means they will close the gap very, very nicely. This Ark is just chilling. This Ark is just making sure that nobody can get an Ark after that. All these marches should be focused on going towards buildings and hunting in general. Desert altar secured. The points per minute game is down to 150 points per minute. This is still enough for the red team to win right now, even if the Ark of Osiris is returned by the blue team. The blue team have to get those altars out of the red team's hand. If the red team lose one of those three altars, then it's potentially over. It's potentially over if one of those three go down for a while, especially if they go down and then they go towards the blue team. So if the blue team want to win this, they're gonna have to focus all their energy, just like they're doing right here, with 1.2 million troops on a sky altar that's about to tick for the red team, giving them again the 300 points per minute lead. There might not be enough time here. We're looking at almost 3,500 points difference between the two teams, and the Ark itself is worth 4,000 points. DAR know they have to hold on to this altar for dear life. Another rally hitting another altar on the top, the desert altar. This rally is looking a little more successful. There are tier 5 players in here, which we haven't seen at the bottom yet, but there are much more. There's a bigger presence by the blue team right here, and it looks like it's really, really doing the damage. If the blue team managed to take one or even both of these buildings away from the red team, one of the rallies is not successful. 1.2 million troops. Lady Nasisa standing here with a couple of troops. What a shame not noticing that she could help out her alliance mates with this battle. There's still a solo hit here, but this sky altar seems to be secured. The desert altar is a separate story, as it looks like the blue team will be successful in a moment at taking it, slowing down the red team again. They're going to have to hold on now for dear life. Look at all the marches leaving. Why are the marches leaving? Why are all the marches leaving? You guys are going to have to hold on to this building for dear life if you guys want to win this. You have to win this. You have to keep a hold of this building no matter what. Because if you pick up this building, it'll be 590, 590, and everything will be square, and everything will be even for both teams. Yes, this is 163, and iRON from 163, and then they'll be able to they'll be able to potentially win this. But they have to make sure that the red team and them start making the same amounts of points. Unfortunately for the blue team, they lose control of the desert altar, and it doesn't seem to me like they're gonna have enough in the tank to win this. The reason I'm saying this is because the Ark is actually being picked up by the red team. The blue team fell asleep on holding on to the Ark of Osiris, and now Odan, a tier 5 player, has it, and he is running away with it. And marches here are so focused on Dezo's solo march right here that they completely ignoring the fact that the Ark of Osiris is slipping out of their hands. This is a tier 5 player with crazy march speed, crazy march speed, and these are tier 5, so you won't be able to chunk them down. And just like that, instead of delivering the Ark of Osiris, someone fell asleep with the Ark in their hands and got destroyed. What a huge mistake. This is a tier 5 player running away with the Ark of Osiris very far away, and with that, running away with the match as well. Just like that. Just like that. How is he so fast? Tier 5s. Tier 5s. Probably enabled a march speed and probably enabled a march speed alliance thingy, and he's super fast. That's really interesting. It's crazy, isn't it? He's super fast. It looks like the Ark didn't do anything to him. Is that a thing? I'm seeing the Cao, right? I'm seeing the Cao. So cavalry march speed is probably all the talents that are set here. And this is like the craziest march speed ever. He can literally put this in here right now and win the game. Instead, he's going all the way to his building. He's taking it home. He's chilling. He's just like, as long as the blue team don't get a hold of this, it's over. And here's the thing. The blue team are still about 210 points difference without this Ark to give them 4,000 points. This, my friends, is probably a GG. It looks like no Ark debuff, right? It somehow looks like no Ark debuff. It somehow looks like no Ark debuff, if that's a thing. He's not using... Is he tier 5? Were those tier 1s or tier 5s? There's no way those are lower. Jose, how are those lower armies? How are those tier 1s? And all these tier 4s that surrounding him couldn't do damage to that. That's tier 5s for sure, 100%. Did you see how many marches were hitting that thing and doing almost no damage to it? If those were tier 1s or tier 2s, they would have gone like that. Just me subscribing right now. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the stream. Congratulations to the red team who really came back from a lot of deficit early on. Tier 4s at least, bro. They could be tier... I still think they were tier 5s. I'm pretty sure they were tier 5s. I'm almost certain they were tier 5s, Jose. But I think that something lagged out with the Ark of Osiris, because there's absolutely no way that mobility talents, tier 5s, and maybe like, maybe if they took the alliance skill thingy that gives them 10%, I don't know. It's 100% tier 5s. I agree. I completely agree. You can see tier 4s. I think those are matadors, aren't they? They look like that. Those are 100% tier 5s. I agree. And with that, he sealed the deal. It's the end. Their faith is over. It's done. iRON have fallen. And even though they are the kings of rallies, this time around, DAR showed them exactly what everything is about. And this game is about points per minute. As many rallies as you can send is all nice and dandy, but once DAR started sending their own rallies out there with tier 5s and holding buildings with a good amount of people, 600,000 people in a tier 4 players is not enough to breach a building. If the building is full of tier 4s, you don't stand a chance. If there's one tier 5 march in there, you don't stand a chance. So sending consistent 600,000 marches really didn't work out for iRON, and it won't work out in the future either as they grow and progress in their arcs, in their size and strength, because they're going to face much stronger opponents with much more tier 5s, and all of a sudden the 600,000 cavalries moving across the battlefield won't do anything to a building that has 200,000 tier 5 infantries in it. So that's a lesson learned for the blue team. We can definitely call it GG. Guys, let's get some GGs in the chat, both for iRON and DAR, for a pretty cool Ark of Osiris. It went down to almost the end, and these last 5 minutes, we're going to take a look a little bit at the solo points. As in the iRON side, we have, let's see, almost a bunch of people over the 10K. 16 out of 31 above the 10K points. This is not the best showing by them. They really want to get above the 6,000 points right here, the 4 people in here, and try to push above the 9 and 10. There's one guy very close who will probably make his way there. Now looking at the red team, Adar, Dezo, 67,000 points. Farok with 45,000 points. Odan, exactly what we thought. The tier 5s doing what the tier 5s need to be doing. Insane amounts of damage. They weren't as explosive and as important in the early game when the blue team were really starting to steamroll and get through the arc, but once they started being more impactful, their marches were being placed in right positions. They just destroyed those tier 4s out of the water. Unfortunately though, only 15 out of 30 members above the 10,000 mark. We have 3 of them potentially pretty close, and the rest are really going to have to work hard. At least everybody above the 3,000 points, that means rewards for everybody. The alliance speed may be enabled before the arc. Ali, yeah, that's another thing. Even that speed of debuff, I think the debuff was bugged. I think the debuff was bugged too, Ivor. I really do. Jose, you're welcome to join my Discord group. Link in the description down below. And next time around, when there's an arc coming up for your alliance, you're welcome to hit me up there. There's an Ark of Osiris channel where people post their arcs and things like that, and that's how I pick who I will cast, essentially. So in the description down below, you will find my Discord group. And in case you guys get lost and can't find the description, in the chat right there, you have the link of the Discord group. You're welcome to come join it, say hi. We're very active in there. It's a pretty cool little Discord group going. And we got a bunch of people in here, including some of our opposition, JWM, in this Discord group. Some of the people from other alliances, from other kingdoms. And you guys are always welcome to join that as well. Ali, I am on the big account. I am in Kingdom 58. And on the jumper account, I'm in Kingdom 196. What's up, Tawny? Tawny. Wow, Tony. I'm so tired. I'm sorry. What's up, Tawny? How you doing, man? Wrecked Tawny. Wow. Can I pronounce that any worse? Red team really just steamrolling. They know it's over. Now they're going for the buildings, going for the crazy stuff. JWM just farms. Ken is number 1. On the video that you guys are going to see on Wednesday, you're going to see that JWM are nowhere near farmers. They are nowhere near farmers. 196, Ali. 196. On the video that I'm bringing up on Wednesday, it's gonna be a very, very sad video, but yeah, it happened. The first zeroing has happened by JWM, and it was a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. I saw the video from Legends Ronnie against you, and I can say that you got smacked. Justin, I was nowhere near smacked, but thank you for being a hater. I appreciate you. We didn't get smacked at all. We got a little too focused on buildings, and we forgot about the arcs towards the end, and that was a very big mistake. It is not easy to coordinate Ark of Osiris's on call by yourself, And that was the plan initially. And it was just one of those things where we found out that it's not as easy. We learn and we'll grow and be better. But you send to your friend Ronnie my regards. I'm sure that you enjoy hating while loving him. So cheers to that. We have Karak event on the calendar. Woohoo. Yes, we do. I hate Karak. I hate Karak Abir. I hate Karak. You love the Ark? You're not complaining at all. You're not complaining at all. It was very close, Justin. It was super close. We were actually doing really well, but again, I made the mistake of focusing a bit too much on buildings and did not think that, you know, hey, you really want to stop them from getting these arcs. And the mistake we made was that instead of having to, we didn't think we could take the arcs every time because they had a very strong presence there, but we had to do what we did at the end, which is just slow down them picking up the arc. If we had slowed the 3 arcs they took, if we had slowed 2 of those arcs, just like we did the third one would have never happened and we would have won. So there is could have, should have, would have is one of those things where I learned a lot from it and it was a lot of fun. All good, Justin. All good, my friend. And actually, like, I co-casted this morning with Dragothian, which was very cool. We talked about it as well. And we both agreed that it was one of the best, most intense. Like, by the time it was over, both alliances were just like, oh, that was so good. GG's to DAR. Great win, great comeback, slow and steady. DAR Dezo doing big work for his team. Big GG's to iRON as well. You guys have some lessons to learn from here, and I hope that this VOD will help you guys out, figure out what you did wrong and how you can improve. I like your strategy, but I think that the strategy is there for the tier 4 versus tier 4 level. But now that you have tier 5s coming in consistently to your arcs, you're going to really have to change that position of 10 or 8 small rallies rather than that. Focus on 3 or 4 big rallies consistently. Why do I hate Karak? Because Karak is the most tedious thing on earth, and I don't like tedious tasks. The thing is, it's like, summon the thing, hit it. Now you gotta wait. Okay, cool. Summon the thing, hit it. Gotta wait. Summon the thing, hit it. You gotta wait. Summon the thing, hit it. And now you wait, and now it's like most of the time you're spending waiting for the freaking troops to kill the freaking thing. You can spend 2 hours doing the event, and out of it, an hour and a half, you're just sitting there and waiting. So I don't like that. It's like, explain again, please. I missed one. What you do is you summon it, and then you hit it, and then you gotta wait, and then you summon one, and then you send your troops there, and you gotta wait. It's just, I know you're being a troll, but are you having some tips for when you start at a new kingdom? Justin, what kind of, first of all, caves and scouting, very important. There is a free-to-play series where I showed a very cool trick on how to scout a bunch of the map. That's a good one if you want to look into my channel onto a scouting video for a free-to-play from the free-to-play series. That's a really good one. Spend your time on the tribal villages. Wait with the tribal villages until you have your academy at a like level 4, 5, 6-ish. That way, when you click on the tribal villages, you'll get more researches instead of more stuff. I like the researches better, but yeah. Start by defogging the map a lot, and make sure you're only getting these once you have your academy up. Anyway, let's go tell these guys. Bam. Thanks for letting me cast. The VOD is You guys like the clicking? Bam. You guys like the clicking? Best epic commander pairing for cavalry. I use all legendary sculptures on Richard, and I need a cavalry march. You can go with. I like Pelagius. I prefer Pelagius. A lot of people prefer like having a Baybars and Belisarius march. I am a bigger fan of a Baybars Pelagius march. I'm just so used to having Pelagius as a main like epic commander that I don't really see any more use for him other than that. I do prefer having my Belisarius as a peacekeeper rather than as a cavalry commander. So you can get away very easily with a good march that is a Pelagius Baybars mix. You have cavalry attack bonus in here, and you have cavalry attack bonus in here, and defense versus here, which I think it's defense and health. Bonus to barbarians. The thing about this is the only thing that really I like more about Belisarius is the fact that the attack reduction and attack and defense reduction, but it's only for 2 seconds. So unless you're proccing consistently, you're not going to benefit from this as much. And the march and defense bonuses, I prefer damage, even though, yes, when you're reduced to less than 50% strength, you do get the extra damage bonus. But these guys, you get them off the bat. That's why I prefer them. You prefer Mina Cao Cao. Well, I prefer Mina Cao Cao too, except that neither of them is an epic commander. It's not a problem, Adam. Yes, Vixen clicks, indeed. Belisarius hero is for killing event, farm hopping. Something like that. When you're farm hopping for in KE, his leaving the march increases after leaving a battle. This is a good one. To use them for hopping between tiles. So Pelagius skill build is primary and Belisarius and Bella's second. I'd go Baybars second. You could go Belisarius as secondary, and then you can build him as a peacekeeper. If you're looking for reductions for a very small period and you're looking for the speed when leaving a battlefield, you could definitely put him at the back without a problem. I'd put Pelagius up front regardless, and then if you're looking for more damage than speed, take Baybars instead. Not a problem, Adam. You are more than welcome. Someone said something else. Show what? You didn't mention the AP cost. Honestly, the AP cost doesn't bother me that much. Primarily because if you are in an alliance that hunts barbarians, that hunts forts consistently, and you're in an alliance where you do all the events and you do all the things and you have the VIP shop, you're not going to run out of AP for a event like Karak. Remember that you get 3,000 AP a day for free. So that's a good 50, depending on how many marches you need to use, right? If you're using straight up rallies, that's 200 a pop. So that's probably 10 levels, 30 levels a day for free pretty much. And then from there, the AP is a problem, but I don't see it as that expensive based compared to the rewards and the things you get out of it, especially the XP. I actually spend more AP on getting more marches out because I prefer to have the XP on those marches in some of the levels. Someone said something that I missed. Go up to the biggest guy on the map and hit him with all your troops. That makes the stance of your new kingdom. Yeah, Vixen, that's how you get yourself zeroed and leave the game. Making a drinking game, shots while you wait, I would die. You wait too much. Can you show us this alliance info? Sure. So this is iRON, Immortal, Rebellion. They're a 2.1 billion power alliance. They're in Kingdom 163, I think. They're pretty good. They're looking nice and dandy. They have a nice little gift level, almost 18. Very good. Someone actually made a small purchase. Well, at least the alliance gets something out of my presence here. 5,000 points, I guess. Cha-ching for them. Anyway, let's leave this alliance before. Let's get out of this alliance. Let's not leave them leftovers. Bam and bam. Perfect. We're out of there. Chat, we're growing our cameras account. We are growing our cameras account. As of right now, the brand new cameras account has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cameras on it and growing. So exciting stuff coming. Anyway, chat, this is my time to leave. Again, thank you for joining the stream. If you guys like the stream, make sure you smash a like button on the stream before you leave. Again, thank you very much for all your kindness and continuous support watching my streams. 44 beautiful people watched this stream. We peaked, I think, at like 50 or so. That's an awesome, awesome fate, considering this is the third time I cast today Ark of Osiris. A bunch of you come back again and again to watch these things, which is why something very cool is coming to the Ark of Osiris very soon. But again, take care. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Enjoy the rest of your day, weekend, afternoon, holiday, whatever time you guys are watching this. And I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Stay positive. Take care. Peace.